Chapter 38. Edom's Hostility, Aaron's Death. Numbers 20, 14 to 29. And Moses sent messengers from Kadesh unto the king of Edom. Thus saith thy brother Israel, Thou knowest all the travail that hath befallen us. How our fathers went down into Egypt, and we have dwelt in Egypt a long time. And the Egyptians vexed us, and our fathers. And when we cried unto the Lord, he heard our voice, and sent an angel, and hath brought us forth out of Egypt. And behold, we are in Kadesh, a city in the uttermost of thy border. Let us pass, I pray thee, through thy country. We will not pass through the fields, or through the vineyards, neither will we drink of the water of the wells. We will go by the king's highway. We will not turn to the right hand, nor to the left, until we have passed thy borders. And Edom said unto him, Thou shalt not pass by me, lest I come out against thee with the sword. And the children of Israel said unto him, We will go by the highway, and if I and my cattle drink of thy water, then I will pay for it. I will only, without doing anything else, go through on my feet. And he said, Thou shalt not go through. And Edom came out against him with much people, and with a strong hand. Thus Edom refused to give Israel passage through his border, wherefore Israel turned away from him. And the children of Israel, even the whole congregation, journeyed from Kadesh, and came unto Mount Hor. And the Lord spake unto Moses and Aaron in Mount Hor, by the coast of the land of Edom, saying, Aaron shall be gathered unto his people, for he shall not enter into the land which I have given unto the children of Israel, because ye rebelled against my word at the water of Meribah. Take Aaron and Eleazar his son, and bring them up unto Mount Hor, and strip Aaron of his garments, and put them upon Eleazar his son. And Aaron shall be gathered unto his people, and shall die there. And Moses did as the Lord commanded, and they went up into Mount Hor in the sight of all the congregation. And Moses stripped Aaron of his garments, and put them upon Eleazar his son. And Aaron died there in the top of the mount. And Moses and Eleazar came down from the mount. And when all the congregation saw that Aaron was dead, they mourned for Aaron 30 days, even all the house of Israel. Numbers 20, 14 to 29. In these verses, we see Moses attempting to gain permission to pass through the kingdom of Edom. He wanted to pass from the plains south of the Dead Sea to the plains of the Jordan across from Jericho. It was from this point that entry was later to be made into Canaan. Moses promised a peaceful passage. Israel would stay in the king's highway. It would not allow any livestock to stray into city fields or vineyards. If their sheep and cattle needed water, they would pay for it. If Edom did not want to sell any water, they would hurry through without it. Moses reminded Edom of two facts. First, as both knew, they were related peoples. Edom descended from Esau, and Israel from Jacob, Esau's younger twin brother. They were thus not rightfully enemies, but friends. Second, Israel had been delivered from Egypt by the angel of the Lord, so they came with God's favour. Now, Edom always resented Israel's priority. Edom, although without true faith, saw itself as God's chosen people. Centuries later, Rome united Judah and Edom under an Edomite king, Herod. Edom, also called Idumea, is a word meaning red. The forcible union of Judea and Edom, or Idumea, under Herod was deeply resented by most Jews, but accepted by others. A heretical strain was introduced into the Jewish world. The faith of Edom was in fertility cults. In the days of the Maccabees, John Hyrcanus conquered all of Edom and required the forcible conversion of all its peoples. In the war of AD 66 to 70 between Judea and Rome, the Edomites were regarded by Titus and the Romans as an important part of the Judean military forces. Thus, Edom was merged into Judea. Some have held that the fondness of some radical Jews, as the Bolsheviks, for the colour red is a survival of the Edomite heritage. It is at least important to remind ourselves that, over the centuries, there has been deep internal divisions within the ranks of those called Jews. There is another factor here. The Edomites were descended from Israel or Jacob's older brother Esau, and they believed themselves to be the ones through whom the Messiah would come, if there was one. We have an account of King Herod's pretension. Having helped himself with Christ's crucifixion, he felt ready to claim the Messiahship for himself, according to Acts 12, 21 to 23. And upon a set day, Herod, arrayed in royal apparel, sat upon his throne, and made an oration unto them. And the people gave a shout, saying, It is the voice of a God, and not of a man. And immediately the angel of the Lord smote him, because he gave not God the glory, and he was eaten of worms, and gave up the ghost. His very painful death is recorded also by Josephus. The strong role that the Edomites played in the Jewish-Roman War was a part of their desire to take over Israel and become themselves the chosen people. With this background, we can understand the response of the king of Edom. He did two things. First, he refused passage to Israel, and this was done as ungraciously as possible. Second, he sent out an army to the border to block the way. The King's Highway is referred to in Numbers 21:22 also, and again in Deuteronomy 2:27. According to John Sturdy, this road ran from Damascus down through what is now Jordan to the Gulf of Aqaba. It is now called in Arabic the Road of the Rulers. Centuries later, Emperor Trajan rebuilt it. Moses and Israel chose not to fight. They chose instead to take a long route around Edom to Mount Hor. Their purpose towards Edom was peaceful. The time had now come for Aaron to die. Aaron shall be gathered unto his people. He would not be allowed to enter the promised land for his part in the sin at Meribah. All the same, his death, like Moses' death later, was an honourable one. The phrase, gathered unto his people, or gathered unto his fathers, is normally used to describe the death of a godly man in his old age. It is an important term in the Bible. First, its basic meaning is that a reunion takes place with one's ancestors in God's kingdom. Its implication is of rest and victory. It is a term which essentially refers to life after death. Second, a minor meaning, not always the case, refers to burial in an ancestral burial ground. Over the centuries, and even now, many families have had a burying ground to which family members are brought. Aaron, Moses, and Aaron's son Eleazar went to the top of the mountain. Moses ritually stripped Aaron of his high priestly garments and put them on Eleazar. Verse 28. Sometime thereafter, Aaron died and was buried there, and Moses and Eleazar returned to the camp. There was then a 30-day period of mourning. Verse 29. This custom of 30 days of mourning was common in Christendom until recently for all great personages, and flags are still flown at half-mast for 30 days. Aaron died, but the priesthood did not die. God's servants are office bearers who serve under God and for His purposes. Similarly, judges are not the law, even though many confuse themselves in their words with the law. They are, like priests, God's ministry of justice, and that ministry does not end with their death. Thus, priests, ministers, public officers, judges, and others must see themselves as no more than God's agents. They have no independent authority, nor does their office give them any special wisdom or superiority. The comment of Joseph Parker on this chapter is superb. We live then in a scheme of providence. Life is not atheistic. Our sufferings have an explanation. Our weakness is not an accident, but the outcome of a series of processes often lying beyond the line of imagination. The lesson is that we should accept life solemnly, pass through all its processes of our own will or fancy, but should always say, "My God, Thy will be done." Let no man undertake to be God for himself. Let him occupy his definite position as servant, errand-bearer, worker in the vineyard, and let his spirit express itself substantially thus: "Lord, at Thy bidding I would go, at Thy bidding I would stay. Give me understanding of my time. Give the noble Christly heart, and inspire me by the Holy Spirit, that I may be enabled so to succeed as to ripen into a harvest of satisfaction and gladness in the coming days." No man can live in that spirit without being in heaven as to all the substance and quality of heaven's meaning. That is what is meant by praying without ceasing, namely, living in the prayerful spirit, always being in touch with God, ever having God's throne in view, God's law at heart, God's will the inspiration and direction of life. It is worth noting that, according to Numbers 33:39, Aaron was 123 years of age when he died. At that age, he walked up a mountain to his burial site. As with Moses later, his grave was to be known to God, not to men generally. They were thus preserved to a silent dignity in death. There is an oblique reference to Aaron and to priests generally in Hebrews 5:1-4. "For every high priest taken from among men is ordained for men in things pertaining to God, that he may offer both gifts and sacrifices for sins. Who can have compassion on the ignorant and on them that are out of the way? For that he himself also is compassed with infirmity. And by reason thereof he ought, as for the people, so also for himself, to offer for sins. And no man taketh this honour unto himself, but he that is called of God, as was Aaron." By his very weakness, Aaron was, we are told, a compassionate high priest. He was thus a type of Christ. "For we have not an high priest which cannot be touched with the feeling of our infirmities, but was in all points tempted like as we are, yet without sin." Hebrews 4:15. H.P. Liddon in The Family Churchman, April the 27th, 1887, called attention to the quiet dignity of Aaron's death. Nothing is more noticeable in the account of Aaron's death than his deliberate preparation for it. He did not let death come on him. He went to meet it. There was a twofold motive in the act of Moses in stripping Aaron of his garments. One, it showed that the office of the high priesthood did not depend on the life of any single man. And two, it reminded Aaron personally of the solemn truth of the utter solitariness of the soul in death. The phrase of Moses, "Aaron was gathered to his people," seems to point to a world in which the bygone generations of men still live, a world of the existence of which God's ancient people were well assured, though they knew much less of it than we. Some years had now passed. Numbers 33-38 tells us that Aaron's death was in the 40th year after the Exodus, on the first day of the 5th month. The older generation was disappearing as God cleared the way for the conquest of Canaan. Not entirely so, however, because the two older men provided the leadership for the conquest, Joshua and Caleb, not the younger generation.